Hello, everyone, and welcome to what perks I take for the medicine skill tree. We're going to assume, for the purposes of this video, that all are working as intended. So, if any are broke and do get fixed later on, then they will be relevant. As I'm just going to tell you which ones I recommend to take for each role in your party, so maybe I can bring some light to a new skill that you haven't tried before. At 25, we have preventative medicine and self medication. Preventative medicine is plus 5 HP and 30% recovery rate of lost hit points after each battle, with self medication being 30% healing rate and plus 2% combat movement speed. I always take preventative medicine. You're going to get the 5 HP, but if you win a battle, you're going to get 30% of your HP back, which means you'll be above the 20% threshold that forces you to have to sim a battle. So you never have to worry about it. I also get it for every single one of my party members. And in fact, I actually go out of my way to get it for them. That means after every battle, I'll have every captain, every person that is a party leader available for the next battle. There is hardly any time that I take self medication. About the only time I take it is if I am doing bandit bases. Then I want to be able to heal much faster because you don't gain the 30% recovery after a bandit base. Besides that, preventative medicine for everyone. At 50, triage tent and walk it off with triage tent plus 30% healing rate when stationary on the map, and a governor perk minus 5% food consumption for a besieged governed settlement with walk it off plus 15% healing rate when moving on the campaign map, and plus 10 HP recovery after each offensive battle. So this one is pretty straightforward. I will take triage tent only for a governor, and that's it for the 5% food consumption. Besides that, I'm taking walk it off because I'm normally moving on the campaign map. Plus, I want the recovery after each offensive battle, and that somewhat stacks with the first one in preventative medicine. I don't know if it perfectly stacks, but you pretty much get right around the 40% total recovery after each offensive battle won. So, Governor Triage tent, everybody else, walk it off. At 75, one of the biggest ones to get as quick as possible, you have Doctor's Oath and Sledges. With Doctor's Oath, your medicine skill also applies to enemy casualties, including potential prisoners, and 5 HP. Sledges, you have minus 50% party speed penalty from the wounded and plus 15 HP to mounts in your party. Honestly, I go Doctor's Oath all the way. Now, there will be one part in which I won't do it. With Doctor's Oath, when you get that, you're going to gain a ton of medicine because your medicine skill applies to the enemy. So, all those wounded, everybody you save is going to massively increase your medicine skill. This is about the only time in which I will then revert and take off of Doctor's Oath. As many people know, when you are in a siege defense, they can do multiple battles time after time because they get a bunch of wounded, heal up, and continue to siege again. So taking off Doctor's Oath for that reason might be the way for you to go. And that's about the only reason why I don't do that. Besides, I keep it on there. Maybe once I get up to 275 medicine, I'll take it off as well. But for the most part, I will keep Doctor's Oath for absolutely everybody for the entire game, except maybe if I hit 275. At 100, we have Best Medicine and Good Lodging. With Best Medicine, plus 50% healing rate while party morale is above 70, and one relation per day with a random notable over age 40 when a party is in town. With Good Lodging, plus 20% healing rate when resting in settlements, and plus one relation per day with a random noble over age 40. So the difference between them, a noble is a lord. A notable is an NPC that works in the town. It's one of the guys up at the top of the screen that you would normally talk to. This is the problem that I have with Best Medicine for other party leaders. I don't know what their morale is. They don't keep good food variety, and they don't start off with good leadership. So do you honestly get above 70 morale for your other party leaders? Now, for myself, I will easily get it. One of the reasons why I like good lodging is because in a siege defense, if you're sitting there in the settlement waiting on a siege to happen, they're going to get that plus 20% healing rate. So, for that reason and that reason alone, I will take best medicine. For my other party leaders, I will take good lodging. And I'll pretty much leave it at that the entire game. At 125 is Siege Medic and Veterinarian. With Siege Medic, a 50% chance of troops getting wounded instead of killed during siege bombardment, and then a 30% chance to recover from lethal wounds during the siege bombardment. That is very good. Now, I will make a quick little side note here. At the time of this recording, Siege Medic was actually bugged, but we're going to assume that it's not for the purposes of everything going forward. With Veterinarian, 30% daily chance to recover a lame horse and a 50% chance to recover mounts of dead cavalry troops in battle. So I normally take Veterinarian for everyone. However, if Siege Medic was fixed, I would take it for my clan parties and I would take Veterinarian. With Veterinarian, you are going to get a ton of horses. And we're not talking about just weak ones, we're talking about noble mounts. I make so much money on horses after a battle having Veterinarian. Problem is, I don't know how Veterinarian works with your clan parties, and then Siege Medic is a little bit important for the bombardment. So if Siege Medic is fixed, I personally would take Siege Medic for all of my clan parties, and I will take Veterinarian for the money. 150 Bush Doctor and Pristine Streets. With Bush Doctor plus 20% hearth growth in villages bound to governed settlements, which is a governor perk, where pristine streets have plus one settlement prosperity for every day in a governed settlement. For Bush Doctor, plus 20% party healing rate while waiting in villages, where pristine streets is plus 20% healing rate while waiting in town. So this one's pretty simple. The hearth growth in villages is microscopic. A hearth growth is anywhere between, let's say, 0.6 and 1.2. So that 20% more is going to get you maybe 0.2. I would rather have the prosperity because that's where you're going to go ahead and make all your money. So for a governor, I would take pristine streets. Now, also for party leaders, I would take pristine streets as, once again, like I've said before with previous perks, if you're waiting in town for a siege, you're going to get the additional healing rate. And I honestly, I don't wait in villages that often. I'll wait more in towns. So for everyone, I would take pristine streets. 175 health advice and perfect health. With health advice, the first one is a clan leader, so you'd only take that for yourself, not for anybody else. Chance of recovery from death due to old age for every clan member. And then wounded troops do not decrease battle morale. With perfect health, plus 5% recovery rate for each type of food in your inventory. And then the governor perk, plus 10% animal production rate in villages bound to governed settlements. So let's get the one out of the way, and that is governor. Obviously, you would take probably perfect health, as that's the only governor perk there is to take. So now for yourself, let's get that one out of the way. I would, of course, take health advice. The chance of recovery from death due to old age. Strat Gaming and I did do some investigative work on this, and it seemed to push your character up to the average age from being into the mid 50s up into the mid 60s, or even a little bit higher to the upper 60s. Now, for clan parties, it didn't increase it that much from maybe the mid 50s to the upper 50s to 60, but it's still a decent increase. So I would take that for my character. Now, the only one that's kind of up in the air is what are you going to take for your clan party leaders? The wounded troops do not decrease morale in battle. That is pretty darn powerful if you have to worry about them fleeing. The plus 5% recovery rate for each food type in your party sounds good, but as I've said before, clan party and really AI in general don't carry much food variety. So therefore, I would be a little bit concerned with that, maybe only adding 15-20% more healing instead of that. So I can understand why people would want to take either one of those. I really do get it. But personally, for me, I want to be able to stop any morale loss as much as possible so my troops don't flee. For that reason alone, I would advise everyone to take health advice, but a governor to take perfect health. But I can understand if you want to get that increased recovery rate. 200, clean infrastructure and physicians of the people. With clean infrastructure, a governor perk, a +1 prosperity bonus from civilian projects in a governed settlement, and then also governor plus 30% recovery from raids in villages bound to governed settlement. With physicians of the people, +1 loyalty per day in a governed settlement, and then surgeon, plus 30% chance to recover from lethal wounds for tier 1 and tier troops. This one is pretty easy all around, and that I would take physicians of the people, obviously, for everybody but governors, since that's the only surgeon perk there is. Now, the only question is governor. Do you want the +1 prosperity bonus from civilian projects and the 30% recovery rate from raids, or do you want the +1 loyalty? Really, it just comes down to, do you need loyalty? If you need loyalty, take physicians of the people. If you don't, I absolutely want the recovery rate. 225, cheat death and fortitude tonic. With cheat death, you get to cheat death once due to old age and a -50% chance to die when you fall unconscious in battle. With fortitude, plus 10 hit points to other heroes in your party and plus 5 HP. Now, honestly, this is a pretty darn tough one. Cheat death, normally your character isn't going to die, and if you're at this point and you've taken health advice, you're really not going to die until probably the upper 50s to low 60s. So you have a long time to live. That's really what cheat death is if you're worried about death. If not, plus 10 HP to heroes and 5 HP to yourself. This honestly is an up in the air one. It's really difficult to think about. My personal opinion on this is you take Fortitude Tonic before age 52. 52 seems to be when you really hit death, and then take it after that, unless you're worried about dying in battle. If you're worried about dying in battle, then you still want to take cheat death. So it really comes down to, do you think your character is going to possibly die soon? Which Hero, my friend, did put out a video on death. I highly recommend you check that out. And I will put a link to the video where it explains the percentage of death so you could see whether or not you're worried about death. But for myself, I take cheat death. For everybody else, Fortitude Tonic. 250, Battle Hardened and Helping Hands. With Battle Hardened, plus 25 experience to wounded units at the end of battle, and a governor minus 20% siege attrition loss in a governed settlement. Helping Hands, plus 2% troop recovery rate for every 10 troops in your party, and with the governor, minus 50% prosperity loss from starvation. For me, this one is easy. I want Helping Hands for everyone. I know the HP increase if they're wounded can be nice, but it's only 25. And as far as the governor perk goes, you lose a ton of prosperity when you are starving, and you will starve a lot, especially in sieges. You can lose upwards of 5 to 5.5 prosperity for every day that your town is starving, or you should say your feet. So to get rid of 50% of that, I think is a pretty big deal. And the plus 2% troop recovery rate for every 10 troops in your party, you can get pretty early on 200 troops. So that comes out to be 40% recovery rate. And later in the game, you can have over 400 to 500 troops. Now you're talking about an 80 to 100% increased recovery rate. So for me, it's pretty easy. I take Helping Hands for everyone. And then finally, we have the Gro Minister of Health, which I believe has been nerfed in the past. I think it was above 200 or 225, but it's plus 1 HP to troops for every skill point above 250. When you get this perk, you get 25 HP to everyone, and then for every point, it's an additional HP. It's pretty self explanatory. Medicine is one of the most powerful perks out there in the entire tree to take because there are so many of them from Doctor's Oath, Minister of Health, Cheat Death, and that is why I always want to make sure I try to get to 275 as soon as possible because it really does help, and which I can get times at 90% of the people that go down in battle in my party are only wounded and not killed. So if you guys get a chance, check out this video here from Hero in which he explains the death recovery rate and shows the formula for everything so you could figure it out. Until next time, my friends, take care and thanks for watching.